right, the time has come to pull the old L series out. We're getting this thing all set up and ready. Bringing in an old fork chop, our MVP of the shop. Always good to have a forklift. Finished pulling the last few things, which would be the engine and trans mounts. So it's kind of dangling. We'll get the chain on there, holding her up. And then we are going to remove the transmission before the pull the whole motor. Just makes it so much easier to pull the engine out. And we're already gonna take the transmission off as soon as the engine comes out. Check this bad boy out. Mm-hmm. That is a relic. The old GM40. Yeah, baby. Yeah, that is a hot rod. Tell you what, this is some classic late 80s work here. I wonder if this was, I have no idea what that was for. We'll backtrace those wires, see if we can figure it out. All right, so now I get to my shifter. That's what I was actually here for. So we'll go on with that before we finish lopping this thing out of here. Whoop, 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 whoop. Starter's on the rise. Got it.
There's only one in there.
Nice and tight. Yep.
Oh,
well, that's not helping. That's not helping. Okay. So, yeah, now we strap and then we'll drop that trans out. She's just about ready. So now we're gonna climb under there and pop this trans out. Trying to get that motor supported because once you pull that trans mount off, it's gonna wanna teeter back. So get her hooked up to fork chop first. All right, we're getting wild under here now. These guys were not easy. So I had to pull the sway bar off. The sway bar was up here, the trans mount was here, the diff mount, and then this urethane diff mount was there. That got interesting, but oh, we got her. I should reiterate, we got one. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. As I always like to say, don't count your chickens. Give me a torch. A little heat goes a long way. Yeah, baby. Oh yeah, baby.
there we go.
Yes. 2. All right, what do you guys want to do tomorrow? I guess pull a motor out, because today I'm taking out diff bolts. Oh yeah, buddy. The only open ender. We just got a real toasty. This thing's like dripping on me. You know, I know. I got all stoked up. I'm like, dude, you know what's awesome? Working on super old cars with everything is stuck.
Get real nice and
To be honest, it's been pretty awesome.
Yeah.
As in, like, this stuff is really coming off pretty well. As far as the engine and drivetrain side, this has been the only thing that kind of gave us trouble, and these things always do, just because you can't get a good wrench on them. That there is a driving shaft.
There you go.
All right, trans is next. There it is.
Nice. Smoking.
Yeah, make sure to breathe all that in. Up. All right, back. Totally good. Motor's out, so it's always a nice milestone. We got the Z still on the rack. We're gonna pull the suspension and everything else out next. So just gonna strip it down. I'm back and forth on how far we're gonna strip the engine bay. I do intend to paint it, so I mean, that basically means we're gonna strip it all the way. So I don't know how much we'll get done today. There's obviously a lot of little bits in here. I gotta talk to the Ice Blast guys and see when they're coming to make sure it's ready for them, because I do wanna have all this stuff out of the way so we can get this nice and clean. So I want to get the suspension, everything off first, so the front and rear cross members, all the spindles and everything. So that's what we're going to work on next. So we will get jack under that diff. So we'll get these brake lines off, hit these few bolts, and this thing drops. Bring her on in. Yes. Oh, that's good, dude. That's good. All right. Cool. That is a good feeling. Those are some of the things that will ruin your day. You know, not trying to ruin all of our brake lines, because we will be keeping those. Yep. Good, bud. Now these ones, 17 on those. We're suspended by the jack. We gotta get these brake lines next. Hit this side. Uh-oh.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh
That's
boy,
cool little
we're on
effect.
fire.
Yes.
Yeah, baby. It's always a good feeling. Keep the good luck flames.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh no. Good luck flames suck! Yes, I understand I'm destroying these brake lines. They will never go on a car again. Everybody can calm down. So I'm gonna let this down and see what happens. Here, you wanna come and hold this coil over? Yeah. Just make sure it's like slam into the metal fender.
Okay.
Get this out of the way. Is it kind of staying in place?
Yeah, there's still more to go. It needs to go down a little bit more.
Okay. Well, I'm off. Okay. So we're off on both sides.
Yeah.
All right, next up we got our tie rods. We're gonna knock these guys off and then just blow the whole front end off in one piece. I just wanna get these tie rods off first because since it's tapered, they can be a bit of a pain. And so I wanna make sure that we can knock those off. We're not gonna reuse them, so we are gonna do it in the grand old fashioned way of ruining them because they are very blown out. So typically, when you're taking off a tie rod, you only need to get like the right splitter, or you can use the old trick and hit it from the side and kind of like shock it loose. And then what I'll normally do is back the nut all the way just past the tip of it. And if it's a castle nut, flip it upside down, or get a different nut that's not a castle nut and just give it one super confident slam on the top and it just pops out. If you just sit there and just, you know, forever, you can wear them out, and they never suggest doing that. I don't suggest it either. This is for off-road use only. So, disclaimer, never hit the top of your tie rod unless Chris Forsberg told you to. Wow, I had a feeling that was gonna happen on this one. There it goes. This is exactly why I said I wanted to do this on the car. All right, so everything's disconnected left and right. So we do the tension rod, then lower control arm, and this. Well, brake line first. All right, so we officially have ourselves a hover car. This thing is stripped down. I wouldn't say fully stripped down because I still want to get some more bits out of the front end. I'm gonna get the fuel tank out because the blast guys are gonna come and they got a little bit of spraying to do. And I wanna make sure they can get to kind of everything, you know? So they did a really good job so far, but you can see like kind of areas that they were able to get to and what they couldn't. So like look how different that is right there to there. So I want to make sure that they had access to as much as possible. Little things like blowing these tow hooks off, getting these pieces off that we're going to get rid of, whole motors out, a couple little things like all this AC stuff I want to get out of the way. They can kind of shoot around the hoses and stuff, but like just those big pieces. We'll leave the masters in and all that in. They can shoot around that too. So pretty awesome how much progress we're able to make. Motor out, all subframes out, all suspension off. So I'd say it's getting pretty good. After it's getting cleaned up, then we're gonna start painting, then we can start reassembling. That's the fun part. So yeah, the dirty work is just about over, but still plenty left to do. A little more to blast, a little more to take apart. Definitely a lot of work, but it's gonna be worth it. It's gonna be sick. It's gonna be almost as cool as this one. Maybe cooler, I don't know, we'll see. We are hitting the next phase of tearing this Datsun apart. So the boys actually got a little busy for me over the weekend. They pulled the booster, the masters out, and there was like 1 or 2 other little things in this engine bay. Just kind of cleared all this out for the Ice Blast guys to get busy. And then I started working on pulling this fuel tank out. And that is, you know, making me a nice little mess back here. The next thing I wanted to do was pull the front end components off, because same thing, there's a couple of spots that these cars typically get a little bit of rust. Right here is some of it. So I really wanted to get back there and make sure it wasn't getting into the chassis. So I'm just gonna start pulling this front end off so that we can actually blast the whole frame and not have these fenders in the way. Yeah, back to it. Okay, this hose connects way over here. The other one goes up into the filler neck, both of which are behind that panel. So I think it's probably best to take this one off here, and I could feed this one. Looks like one of the 2 that runs all the way around. Oh, there we go. Hang on, some things are happening now. There we go, there we go. This is the fun stuff. This is why I work on old cars. It's cool.
Ah, you did.
All right.
Bingo.
Well, part the way there. There we go. I'm like stuck in this little nip of the body. Push your side up. Oh, there we go. Okay. There it is. All right, that's one. Oh man, what a freaking mess that was. Let's just pop the tank out real quick. Pretty stoked with the overall progress today. Didn't put too much time into it, but like I said, just getting the rest of this front end off and the fuel tank out so that the Ice Blast guys can really get in there and get this frame nice and clean. So gonna let them have at it tomorrow and see what this thing looks like. So like here you can see, like, this is where they were able to get to before, and then that's what they weren't able to get to with the car all up in the air and all the suspension and stuff on. So looking forward to seeing this kind of all cleared out and having a fresh base for us to get in there and paint against. So yeah, it's gonna be sweet. It's getting there, one step at a time. We're just about at the turning point where we can start putting fresh parts back on, which is one of my favorite parts. I know I say that a lot, but yeah, getting this all taken care of, cleaned up, painted, and then slowly putting the new parts back onto it. And then this thing is gonna start looking really nice.